One of the things I love about coaching is finding, encountering, or even sometimes looking for ideas and concepts and processes from other fields of endeavour, other disciplines, and then trying to adapt, manipulate, modify them for use in squash. And not long ago, I was browsing Reddit, which is a website that's pretty cool, and I was looking at the popular posts, and there was one about finance, about spending money. And it got me thinking, is there a way I could use that in squash? And this is what this is where we are. In this video, I'm going to explain about an idea that I have where you have to pay for each type of shot that you play. And the idea is to help people who don't have enough willpower or don't have enough self-control to stop themselves from going for, silly shots that they shouldn't be playing. But also for people who lack some kind of framework, because, having a framework can be really important. So that's what I'm going to be doing in this video. Now, under normal circumstances, an idea like this, I'd be able to test it on my pupils, but because of the pandemic and because of the fact that I almost never go on court anymore and actually coach on court, I'm more of a video, content producer, I haven't had a chance to test this. Now, I'm presenting it to you in the hope that you as a player, and most of you are players, will listen, understand, and then say, I'm going to try this, and then you'll give me feedback, because it's certainly not a fully rounded, presented idea. It's really just the core idea, the framework. But I'm also hoping that there are other coaches watching this and who look at it and think, that's quite interesting, I might try that. And then they try it, and then they make some adaptations, and then they tell me. So this video is as much about giving you the information and you using it as it is about, please tell me how it works and give me some feedback on it. Now, any sport that requires people to make split-second decisions where that decision affects what happens to the other person, essentially tennis, squash, badminton, table tennis, pickleball, paddle, those kind of things, having a framework or some kind of game plan makes a huge difference. Because having to make, very fast split-second decisions is difficult. And even if it's not difficult, are you doing the right thing? Now, I always like to promote the idea of default shots. A default shot is like a plan B. You get yourself in a situation, if you don't have any better ideas, you should be playing that basic shot. Good example would be you're in the back corner, your opponent's on the tee really well positioned, you're in a good position, but the ball's quite tight, but not too tight. You're not going to go for a winner. There's no point being defensive. So what do? You just hit it back down the wall. And I call those default shots, but I also call them probing shots, which we'll talk about in a minute. So let's take a specific example. You're in the back corner, ball's come off the back wall, you're fairly well positioned, you rack it up, opponent's probably near the tee, not necessarily on it. What shot do you play? Well, okay, it could be like 100 different, choices. Okay, probably not 100, but there's quite a few choices. Let me run through very quickly the factors that could influence that decision. Where your opponent is, where they've come from, where you are, how well you're balanced, how well you're moving, where the ball is, how fast it's moving, does it have any spin on it, what you're doing well on that particular occasion, what your opponent might be doing well, what you're doing badly perhaps. The other factors would include, what point in the rally is it? Is it at the beginning? Is it in the middle? And of course you don't know the middle or the end, but what I mean is, if it's at the beginning, that's different. If it's after 10 shots, okay, maybe that's a different choice. If it's after 20 shots, maybe that's a different choice. What did you do previous when you were in this situation? What's been happening in a previous match? Are you losing significantly? All those types of things. And then heaven forbid, what kind of mood you're in. And if you don't think that makes a difference, you're wrong. It does. What kind of mood you're in does make a difference. So here you go. You're in the position, you've got this dilemma. You've got so many different things to think about. What do you choose? Well, as I've mentioned, having some kind of plan or a system, a framework, makes all of the difference. So here is the new framework for you to consider. What if you had to pay for different types of shots? Now, initially my idea was you paid $1, and I use dollars, but it could be any type of money, and we might even use monopoly money. I'll talk about that in a moment. $1 for hitting the ball back down the wall, $2 for going cross court. Why? Well, maybe a cross court's a little bit more risky than a straight drive. $5 for a boast, and then maybe $15 for going for some sort of winning shot. All right, so that was the initial pricing idea. And I was then thinking, well, what about deciding whether it was a close shot that cost you, if you hit this ball to the wall, then it was only $1. But if you hit it this far away, it was $2. And clearly it was getting too complicated. I mean, that's just silly. So I thought about it for a little while. And then I came up with an updated structure. And I think that this one is much, much better. But I need to put it into perspective because I often talk about my traffic light system. Red, defense, amber, probing, green, attack. And I'm going to use that with an extra point. So here's the new one. Defensive shots, the red shot, are free. Why? Because I want to encourage you to play defensive shots. If you are under pressure, you should be playing a defensive shot. Now, if you play a defensive shot when you don't need to, I'm not sure that that's right. That's not a defensive shot anymore. But we'll talk about that maybe another time. You give me some feedback on that. Amber. Amber are probing. The shots where you're just trying to keep the ball going without making it easy for your opponent, but you're hoping to create some situations, some opportunities for you to be a little bit more attacking. It's probably 80%, 85% of most of the shots that you play in squash. In fact, the better you get, the closer to that percentage you reach. So the shots down the wall, cross courts, working boasts, which by the way are the ones that hit the front wall about the middle of the court, about this high off the tin, so there is little chance of hitting the tin, and take its second bounce very close to the nick in the sidewall. Those are working boasts. Those are $1. Probing shots, $1. Attacking shots. Attacking shots are like probing shots, but a little bit more aggressive. They're not likely to win you the point directly, but they are likely to create such a good opportunity that you could win it on the next shot. Now, those shots are $5, and they're the green shots. And a shot, perhaps very close to the wall, might be considered an attacking shot. Yellow and black. This is the new one that I've added. This is like the danger because in nature, yellow and black means danger. These are the kills. This is where you expect to win the rally at that point. You have no other thoughts in your mind than this shot is going to win the rally. Not this shot might win the rally for my opponent. No, this is the shot that wins the rally for me. I'm going for a winner because it's exactly the right time, not because I'm tired. Okay? Those shots are $15. So what I want to do with that pricing structure is I want you to be very clear. Defensive, free. Probing, $1. Attacking, $5. Kills, $15. Now, I did think about introducing a price for winning and losing the rally. So, for example, if you win the rally, you incur a minus 15 charge. So you're actually saving money. If you lose the rally, $15. So if you go for a kill, like on a cross-court service return, and it hits the tin, you've just lost $30. That's a big mistake. You shouldn't be doing those kind of things. I'm not sure about whether the price for winning and losing the rally is a good idea. We'd have to test it. You'll need to sort of, test it. Now, each coach and player combination would define and adjust exactly the pricing. You could adjust the pricing, but more importantly, you definitely define what is the red, amber, green, and yellow and black. You could do that. For example, imagine the ball comes off the back wall, as we've already mentioned, and you are quite good at taking the ball off the back wall and playing it to the front, maybe this high off the tin, but very tight. That's an attacking shot. And that's okay. For some other people, that might be a kill shot. But for you, that's an attacking shot. And you're willing to pay the $5 because you're good at it consistently. Other people, that might be a kill shot, and which costs them $15. So the coach and player would need to personalize that. I've already defined what I think those shots are, but again, that combination, coach and player, should make the definition as clear as possible. And if you're not working with a coach, be clear exactly what you are hitting: red, amber, green, or yellow and black. Now, there are two ways of using this system as far as I can see. The first way will be for somebody to record the match and then do a post-match analysis afterwards. That you sit there and you say, okay, well, this is the price of each of those shots. Maybe you include the winning a rally or not winning a rally. And then you get kind of a figure for each game. And I think that might be useful in the longer term, over a season, to see some improvement, or in if you're playing the same person more regularly, to see that kind of improvement. I don't think having one figure at the end of a game and then at the end of the match is a true reflection. It's not really like that bottom line, that profit and loss that you might say for a company. But it might be, but I don't think so. It just seems too simplistic. The second way that I think that this idea could be used is by the player themselves in the middle of the rally. And no, I'm not expecting them to keep a running total in their head. Like, oh, that's a problem one. I'm up to $34. Okay, I'm going to play this boast. That's another $5. No, of course not. You can't do that. Nobody can do that. Well, I suppose somebody could, but I couldn't, and I'm not expecting you to. What I am hoping that you would do, though, is each time you get to a situation, you've got this general idea in your mind. Defense, 3. Probing, 1. Attacking, 5. Killing, 15. And you really be a little bit more budget conscious. You really don't want to spend too much money unless you absolutely have to. Now, it might be possible, if you've got a group of juniors, for example, to actually use fake money, monopoly money, as I mentioned earlier, that you give them money at the beginning of the match, and then they play the match and you do the total, and then they have to give you the money back. And maybe over the course of a season, you've got like a group of, evenly standard players. You have who's saved the most money, who is the most budget conscious of these players, who's the most efficient at spending their money, and this person gets a small reward. And then maybe there's like a silly punishment for the person who has spent the most money. The physical aspect of giving money and taking money may be enough for some juniors to sort of make that mental switch. And that's what I really want to emphasize at this point, is that the idea is to help people change the way they see, or see things in a different way, shot selection. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to have a final figure that we can decide if somebody's good or bad. But what you might find is that you play the same person over the course of 6 or 7 matches over a season, and each time you spend less money. And that would suggest to me that each time you're being more frugal. You're only spending the money when you know you can win the point. You're not being silly about it. So that's the kind of idea. Each different shot, to summarise, each different shot costs you a different amount of money, and you have to think very carefully about the shots that you're playing. Now, one thing I did think about doing, but I really just don't have time, is taking a professional match from Squash TV and then doing that kind of analysis. But I don't think it would be that great just on one game or one match. I think it's probably something that needs to be done over the season for the number, but the coach or you need to be thinking about it a little bit more. So it's not necessarily going to give you a figure that's fantastic, but it might help you think about things in a different way. So that's it. I've done enough rambling. Please give it a try. Give me your comments, tell me what you think. Maybe it's a terrible idea. I don't think so. I think it might be quite useful for some people, but it might not work for you, and that's fine. Not everything I suggest is going to work for everybody. So if you do try it, please let me know how it worked, your thoughts about it, especially if you're a coach. I'd love to hear your thoughts about how you could use this, how it worked and what changes you might make, because, knowing what people do, that's really interesting. So that's it. And you've probably seen these rackets here. Aren't they a beauty? Can't wait to do the reviews on these. This is the 400G, the 500GS, which was the most popular, and this is the 700i with the flatter head. Anyway, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching.